All remembered this car before, right? I bet you do. This was the car used for sheriff's make and model in Disney cars. But before Disney cars ever was even made in 2006, there was another 1980s movie that portrayed sheriff's vehicle in real life. And that was this, the 1950 Ford Mercury Monterey, the very car used by Sylvester Stallone. And let me tell you, it has some things that most people never talked about. So let's talk Ford Mercury Monterey. The Mercury Monterey, also known as the Ford Mercury, was a car produced by Ford, like also Lincoln. The Ford Mercury is one of Sylvester Stallone's cars in the 1986 movie Cobra. Sylvester Stallone drove a matte black modified Mercury Monterey. The vehicle was a 1950 model produced specifically by Ford. This vehicle was pretty much pronounced itself after the years of World War II. So, what exactly happened to the Ford Mercury driven by Sylvester Stallone? Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened. The car was stolen. Yes, the Ford Mercury owned by Sylvester Stallone was actually stolen. And what fans are truly shocked about is someone had stolen the car from his garage last night. So after the return of Sylvester Stallone's car, many people speculate that this was actually the very same car that Sheriff was based off in Disney cars, and yet it is. But here's a real catch. This car was already 1950 made. The Sheriff was actually based on an earlier model before this one, in 1949 or sometimes a 1948 Mercury. The Ford Mercury was powered by the legendary flathead V8, a special power plant known specifically for NASCAR in the early 1940s and 1950s. Other cars specifically used the flathead V8, such as the Hudson Hornet in 1951 and 1954. The Ford Super Deluxe convertible also used the very same engine, including the Ford F1 Series pickup. The Ford Mercury was practically one of the most well-known cars in the 1950s, but since Disney cars portrayed it as a sheriff vehicle, most people really respect the legacy this car has once brought. From it being stolen to almost going away from the public, many people still realize that this special Ford Mercury was something special. It wasn't fast, it only had about 105 horsepower, and sometimes maybe you're looking at the details all wrong. The Ford Mercury used by Sylvester Stallone was chopped down and pretty much a heavily modified vehicle with NOS bottles that actually worked inside of the car. The car was known for its recessed step-down profile, giving it that more aerodynamic feeling, making it feel like a land yacht. But this 1950s land yacht became part of NASCAR history. Almost the evolution of NASCAR was just all about flathead and being stepped down and aerodynamic. The Ford Mercury wasn't just fast, it was legendary. Not because it was a McLaren, not because it was a Porsche. This car was all about being old school, vintage. It had no luxuries or modern day technology to run it. It's just a car with a manual transmission and 3 pedals. That's about it. The Ford Mercury owned by Sylvester Stallone wasn't just a car. It became a rolling piece of history and cinema. From its 1986 debut as the Cobra car to 2006 as the real-life basis for Sheriff, this car didn't just portray legends, it became a legend in its own right. And sometimes, maybe, you just realize that the whole legacy of Sylvester Stallone's car wasn't just flashy, and sometimes maybe the best legacies that came into a subtle meaning, and that subtle meaning is this: the 1950 Ford Mercury Monterey. And that is the story of Sylvester Stallone's Ford Mercury.